get more county
All right.
than I do.
He just drove down from where Kathy did.
That's right.
I just drove down from the
All right, everybody, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order, and let's go and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So all I have to do is press record, right?
Yes, please.
So we got like half the pledge.
That's good, thank you.
We're on. We're
Is
good.
it on? I don't know.
Yep, red light, green light.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Captain Bueno here.
George Daskell here.
Derek Navarrete.
Les Stones. Sorry.
Oh, Beth Moreno here. Joe Martinez here.
And
All right, proof of notice, I checked on it, it's good. All right, approval of the minutes, anybody got any problems with the minutes that were sent out to you guys?
No, we just had some questions on those minutes. Were they researched, those questions?
Yeah.
And we will discuss them later, or what? Okay.
I don't see on this, I don't think I would see anything. If there's no further questions, can I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Got a motion and second, all, roll call?
Captain Bueno, yes.
George Daskell, yes.
Derek Navarrete, yes.
that's Moreno, yes.
Joe Martinez, yes. All right, let's go ahead and go on to bylaw amendment.
Okay, we have, I spoke to Dodge about this because we have a conflicting thing in the bylaw. So one says, under election of officers, each officer so elected shall serve for a term of 2 years, which term shall expire upon the election of his or her successor or upon his re-election to that office. And this is talking about the election of officers. But since we don't have, somebody may be in for 4 years, so they may not be, their term may not expire, and he or she may not have a successor. So it doesn't coincide with what we do. Also, we have an annual meeting, and it says the regular meeting scheduled for the month of May each year, which we forgot to do, designed as the annual meeting. And in addition to carrying out of regular business shall include the election of officers. So that's what the annual meeting says. And after talking to Dodge and Les, they both feel that the more restrictive of the two is always the best way to go, which would be the annual meeting with election of officers, rather than this other one that doesn't coincide with elections. So if there's going to be an amendment to that, then we have to vote on it and change it.
When Rick sat, the only time that they would do an election is when there was, do a election of officers was during the year of the election.
That's the way
That's the way that they did it.
It's set up now, right?
That's
Well,
exactly the way it's
That's
supposed to
what
be
one
set.
says, but then it says, where's meetings, under section 6B, annual meeting. The regular meeting scheduled for the month of May of each year is designed as the annual meeting. And in addition to the carrying out of regular business, shall include the election of officers.
Yeah. So like I said, that's
So
what,
we do that every year.
Correct.
see, and we never did, is what I'm saying. It's because we did it every 2 years whenever there was an election, because the way they staggered these, this way there was always an election every 2 years for your, and this is, I'm just going by what was, when I was here before all
So
this.
practice is not
Right.
according to policy.
Right, and then, but the way this says, it says that when an officer is elected, the term shall expire upon the election of his or her successor upon his or continue on the re-election to that office. Well, like in JoJo's case, He's not, he doesn't have a successor in 2 years. So it doesn't,
No,
I
you're,
understand what you're saying.
yeah,
yeah. But in the 2 years, no, I got a 4-year term.
right.
Right.
But this makes it sound as though it's a 2-year term.
So what are you
That's the way it's
suggesting?
Because when Spencer sent the stuff out, they a 2-year term comes like, who was the one, Matt filled in for Bukovac. His 2-year term is coming up now 18. Okay, now he can either decide to run again, but his term is gonna be a 4-year term. These 2 years that he runs, and we discussed this up there, didn't we? Remember when we were at that meeting? The 2 years does not go against him if he runs 4 years and then has another 4-year term. The 2 years that he filled in for these other people, that has nothing to do
No,
with
he's
it.
actually serving out the other person's.
That's right,
Correct.
it's exactly, but it has nothing to do, because his next deal is gonna be a 4-year term.
Right, and this says, it talks about a 2-year term, an officer, when that officer is either, is their successor, which you won't have in 2 years.
But mine was a 4-year term. I came in,
Okay,
I
so-
served the first 4 years, my second term is another 4-year term. So I'm on my second 4-year term.
Okay, that's not.
Yeah,
We're not-
that's what it is,
I-
because they're
okay,
all
but that's not
4-year
what-
terms.
That's not what we're disputing, we agree with that.
Right, okay, then
Okay.
what's the dispute?
The dispute is that annually, you change, or you come up to look at who's gonna be the president, who's gonna be the
Oh,
vice
well,
president.
there's no problem there,
Right,
but it's something
Isn't that
that
right?
nobody
Right,
forgot
that's
about
correct.
that. Well,
That's
nobody
correct.
forgot about it. I mean,
The-
everybody forgot about it.
The length of term of office, or the
Right.
terms that you hold is one issue, but the election of officers, when you do have competing language or conflicting language, the most restrictive is the one that you should abide by or adhere to.
Well, and that's why I said, it's because this was what they had practiced and they had done before.
Understood.
Was
You bet.
every 2
And-
years is they did it because there was always somebody up every 2 years,
Right.
according to the way
You bet.
they structured this.
And I understand, and absent going back and trying to figure out what the intent was and what the overriding concerns were for both provisions, one saying election of officers every 2 years, one saying election of officers every year, the easiest way to do it is to say, do what is most, really the most difficult or cumbersome on you, and that is have an annual election of officers. It's the easiest way to resolve this issue and to have it done, again, when you have competing language.
and then we can amend the bylaws, which I'll reword it, bring it to you at the next meeting, so we can bring the two in harmony with each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's only been done by what they have done in the past.
Practice.
Yeah, practice, I mean, so that, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, so if that's the case, then that's covered,
Someone needs to make a motion.
right?
To amend the bylaws under the electoral section stating that instead of having an election of officers at the time.
Every 2 years, we have them every
That
year.
we would have it every year. Somebody needs to make a motion to, if that's the desire.
Well, I think it is, I don't know, I mean, do we have any discussion on this?
Says it's
Is
open for
everybody
discussion.
okay with it?
Yeah, I'm fine with it, that way.
Doesn't bother me.
Right, so somebody needs to make a motion.
Yeah, really.
Why are you looking at me?
Or do you want me to make it?
I'll make the motion, whatever it was that she said. That sounded really good the way she said it. I didn't write it
To
down.
amend the
To amend
bylaws
bylaws.
to have annual
Annual
elections
elections.
of officers.
That's the simplest one.
And to,
And to
fix the
harmonize the
conflicting-
bylaws so
yeah.
that they both say the same.
and then you're gonna bring that to us next
Next,
meeting.
correct.
There's your motion.
Got a motion?
Second,
Okay, and a second. All right, let's do roll call.
Kathy Bueno, yes.
George Dasco, yes.
Derek Everett, yes.
Matthew Moreno, yes.
Joe Martinez, yes. Okay, annual election of officers, bylaws, we just did that. Right?
Now, since you want to do it every year, this is the annual meeting because we forgot last year.
Yeah, but May's gone, so let's go ahead until you bring the deal, or it don't make a difference. If that's what you guys want, do it.
So then, this would be the closest meeting to rectify, because we didn't have an annual meeting. So we have to have the annual meeting. So that would be to bring us to the election of officers.
Well, I guess it's legal now.
Go ahead.
If we wanted to do it now or do it next meeting, but if we want to do it now, it's legal to do it now.
Well, because that's what the annual meeting provision says.
Is
That's
it not right?
correct. That is correct, yes.
Table's open. For nominations.
I make a motion for Kathy Brown for president. For this
I second it.
A motion and second.
Why is everybody looking at me?
Does she abstain?
She does abstain.
Yeah.
Well, we got other offices too. We got to vote on them all at once or just
Gotta
this
vote.
one?
Have
No,
to.
all of them.
Do
Do
one,
Okay.
yeah, we do one, or, didn't we do it like in the past where we did the one and then switched and then everybody else was done?
No, we went ahead and voted on this.
Yeah,
And
we
you,
vote on
then you
each office
did
as it
each
comes
office
separate.
as they go along.
Okay. There we go.
There's a motion and second, I believe.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
Okay, Kathy Bueno abstain.
George Dasco, I'll say yes, I guess.
Derek Everett, yes.
Matthew Morrell, yes.
And I'll say yes. Joe Martinez. All right, now we got for secretary. Right.
Vice
President.
President.
Vice President.
We've never had one.
Kathy's
Oh, yeah, were you?
Yeah.
Where you
Thanks a
been?
lot. Thanks a lot there, bud.
I forgot.
I've been your right hand all this time. You need
No, you were always on the other side.
I'll make a motion
Okay,
for
Vice
Derek
President.
Everett for vice president.
I'll second.
Kathy Bueno, yes.
George Dasco, yes.
Derek Everett abstained.
Matthew Morrell, yes.
Joe Martinez says. Now we go on to secretary, right?
Yeah, secretary treasurer, I didn't.
Yeah.
That was George.
Anybody can have that job.
Nominate Matthew Moreno.
We knew you liked to take the minutes.
I don't take them myself.
There's a nomination on the floor for Matt Moreno.
Second.
Roll call.
Kathy Bueno, yes.
George Dasco, yes.
Derek Everett, yes.
Matthew Morrell abstained.
Joe Martinez says. Okay, there's your election of officers.
That you guys are in, move.
You got the head chair.
We don't get that big long transition from November to January.
I should have stayed at home.
Look, there's your kiss.
Okay, we're gonna open for public comments. Any public
Anybody
comments?
sign?
Anybody sign on?
Hey guys, if you don't know who I am, my name's Tom Murphy. Moynihan Murphy Funeral Home, Trinidad TV. These documents are for Mr. Moynihan. I just have a simple request today. I'd like to get on your next agenda. I believe that I'm going to be here next July 26th. I have some items that I want to discuss at length. Public comment isn't enough time, so that's my request. I'll communicate with Mr. Dasco and Mr. Moynihan, but he's been waiting for those for a while, so I just need more than 3 minutes to discuss some issues with you. So if you would consider that, I'll communicate with him, and when the time comes, whoever puts the agenda together, I would greatly appreciate it if you would put me on there.
Thank you.
Yes. Do we have privy to look at this stuff?
Sure.
So we probably need to have a copy for
For
Everybody.
everyone, yeah.
member.
Is that the one you meant, Tom? Because that's the address to the coroner's office, and it all refers to the coroner.
I'll be happy to explain at the next meeting at length.
But I do think it's for dissemination for the board,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Okay, good, thank you.
There's your copy.
You got one? I think
I made a whole
that's,
bunch.
get one to Ness.
Please. Yes.
That's everybody? This will be for Andrea.
This, if I could please, I'd just like to say that this is really a Quorum request, and it is a request for production of documents. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to.
But that's made through the coroner's office.
Yeah, correct. That's absolutely correct. But it is addressed to you, of course, Mr. Moore and his staff. But it is a request for records.
It actually says to Dominic Worker.
I'm sorry, the one I have from Tom Murphy is to Dan Moynihan.
There's two separate requests there.
Okay, and I only received one.
Oh,
Sorry.
There's
I have
two
one
different-
that
it's
says
two different
to
ones.
Dominic Worker.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then,
It says up on top.
good.
Yeah,
Well, I
there
do
it
not, I
is.
do not have that.
Well, then that needs to be given to
this
Dominic.
one, no, hold on, this is the same request, but that's the one I signed for, this is the one
This is his, but
that Dominic Booker signed for.
That's good, down here. Yeah.
There's two different
Oh, okay.
papers.
So the one I have is addressed to Mr. Moynihan, but there's obviously one for the coroner
Yeah, that's
as
the one
well,
that-
so.
You got the right one, you got
This
the right
one
one, yeah.
already-
That's the one I have. That one, if you'll look at the signature at the top, that one has a.
It's the same thing.
I request,
It's
it's
the-
the same
no.
letter.
No, but she just signed that one, but it's the same letter.
It's not the same.
It's not the same
It's
letter.
not the same letter. This says date you served as deputy coroner. This says Trinidad Ambulance
Right.
Board Policy and Procedure Manual. And this one's
He
been,
presented one to me, which I signed for, and he
Right.
presented one to Junie,
We need copies
which
of
Junie
it.
signed for. So you also want the copy?
Yeah, we need
We need
copies of
copies of
both
the
of
other
them.
one.
I just
May have this one as
assumed, and
well.
I guess I shouldn't assume, that it was
There were
one
two-
letter
Two
copied
letters.
twice.
no,
But it's not.
it's not. It's two separate letters
That's
right.
with two separate requests.
Right.
Okay.
And was this already responded to?
Yeah, no, he couldn't. There's two different ones.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah, because the one he has is different. The one
She's
Barbara's
making
just
it a
having
copy.
made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got one addressed to Dan, but it's signed by Dominic Berker on the top. I accept it.
That's, yeah. And then there's the yellow one, the other one I had was addressed to Dominic and it's signed by Barbara.
Okay, so he just signed for this.
But they're two separate letters.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, when you get it, you'll see that they're two separate.
Okay, so here we go.
Where's the next second one?
Okay. Yeah, this is it.
Okay, there's one for that. There's one. You need one, right? Or do you have which one do you?
I've got the one to me, which is the only one.
That you're concerned with?
There you go. It's signed by Barbara, yes.
And is this the one that still hasn't been picked up? Or is this the one we
I thought he amended,
Well, they are
I
two
don't know, I
different.
have a packet in there, I'll have to look and see which letter it references
No.
that I had
So,
responded.
was this one from May 22nd, this was already, you already got this?
Now, have
This
you
FOIA request was already addressed, right?
Part of it, yes.
Okay,
But I need to address that and some other things.
okay.
There was two documents, and I'll explain real quick.
Okay.
When I came to the office, I accidentally gave the one intended for Mr. Berker to Barbara. And I gave the one for Barbara, actually for Mr. Monahan, to Mr. Berker. It was my confusion. And I thought, when I came back a few days later to collect the documents, I was told that I had turned in duplicate documents. But what I do, when I've done this with Mr. Monahan before and other people, I turn in, I give them an original white, and I keep a yellow copy and ask them to sign. Those were the copies of the copies that I had. So when I went back to check, I still had two different documents. it's as confusing, it was for me at the time, as it was for you guys. I switched them, but the document was delivered on the 22nd.
Yeah, but the one that we got, that Barbara had, that she emailed to me, that she signed, was addressed to Dominic, and
That's what I'm just saying.
And I addressed that to him at the time he dropped it off, and he said you would know what it was for.
I switched them accidentally. It's confusing.
But with open records, you give them all the open records.
I think it was already,
Yeah.
was already.
We give them everything that they asked for that is legally.
But-
That's right. That's right. And if more time is needed, we will ask Mr. Murphy for more time to comply with this request, even though it has been over a month now
I think this
since.
one's.
I understand, and there's confusion, I think.
And in the next, you're saying in the next meeting, you will kind of clarify why you wanted all this
Well,
information?
that and
or-
other issues, but let me just address this real quick, since you're taking time to discuss it. I'm wondering if you have published on your website what your fee charges are, or if you have it published anywhere else.
It's in the,
Isn't it in the manual?
it's in the minutes,
It's in the bylaws.
not the bylaws, but in the.
If
It's
it,
a resolution.
I guess I'm gonna need a copy of that, because what I was told is that I need to come up with $270 for a document, and that it would take 4 hours to produce it, when it should be on a shelf or digital. And so that's one of the issues that I'm gonna discuss at your next board meeting. I know you guys aren't prepared for this. As Mr. Downs knows, I do a lot of this. I'm not gonna put you guys on the spot and hold you accountable. I produced the 2 documents that I brought. I'm the one who switched them accidentally, but they were both delivered to this office. And I was told that I delivered identical documents. That's not true. But anyway, that and a few other issues are things that I would like to get on the agenda for. That simple.
Good.
Well, I think we can make a motion that we put him on the next
To get
meeting
some clarification and get some.
for some clarification. And I would suggest, and I don't know how the board feels, but that we give him the things he needs
Right.
at the price that we give everybody else for. You know, we don't treat him any different than we treat anybody else.
So that's
Sure.
exactly how
Yeah.
matter of
Yeah.
fact,
Well, I mean, I'm just
it was
making.
recommended by Spencer Fink.
Yeah.
Well, again, according to, and you can write this down, CRS 2472-205, if it's not published on your website or published somewhere publicly, you can't go back and say, we're gonna charge for this. You can go back now, your next meeting, and clarify that, and put out your charges, and from that point forward, have that in place. But if you have this in the minutes someplace, I guess you need to let me know where that is, and I'll request that time in that document, so I can prove. But 4 hours for a document that should be on a computer is outrageous. What it should come to is 25 cents a page. I think there's 40 or 41 pages. That would come to about $10.
You can also bill for time, though, for how long it
But
takes a
not-
person to do the reproduction costs.
Right, well, the first hour or half hour is free. That's, again, CRS
Correct.
2472-205.
Okay.
Look it up.
We adopted
So
the
unless
same
they're gonna
thing in
retype the whole thing, 4 hours is outrageous.
Yeah.
I think we'll move there.
Yeah. Any other public comments? Right.
So do we need to make a motion? We're gonna put him on the next,
Yes.
Actually, just a board member just has to request it, be on there. And I think you've already,
yeah, well, we've already had that.
so
I mean,
that's
let's,
it. She's already got it. And then-
if there's a problem, let's get it taken care of as quick as possible.
Yes.
So we don't have to worry about it. I don't know what it is, but.
But if it's out there.
Okay. Financial and billing report.
I think, and Junie, when did you say you turned in your check to the courthouse? Your tax payment?
Oh, I did that first part of April.
So that's April, and his checks still haven't been cashed. So and that kind of led me back to when I looked at where our receivables are, and we have, we're supposed to get a little over 900,000 in tax revenue. We've only gotten we still have about $500,000 sitting out there. And so I'm assuming it's because Donna Leonetti's office is just short-staffed, so being able to pull those checks out, post them, and do those kinds of things. So when we look at last year's number compared to this year's number, that's one of the things I think we have to take into account, is that we got most of that money by the end of May. It was done, and then we had other stuff trickle in. But I think that's typical for tax payment. So other than that, the billing has been phenomenal. They've been doing a great job in collection. There was nothing, anything, I will always tell you if there's something out of whack. But last year, from January through May of 16, we had $958,000, almost $959,000 in the bank. And right now we're sitting at 476, so we're only about halfway there. So normally we look really good in May and June, and then it starts. Exactly, right.
Yeah.
So I think this year we're not going to see that tremendous boost. We're probably just going to kind of stay where we are, because the expense will match the income, depending on how long it takes. I imagine someone's going to have to get it.
And it ain't gonna get any better either. It's not.
So I think that's,
Business taxes would be better with
Yeah.
things being improved
Yeah.
in the business sector. So,
It'll take some time still, but.
that may
Oh,
help.
it's gonna take a long time.
other than that,
Well,
I
you got a
think
long time.
Neither do I. So I'm gonna retire.
still with the 3.375 roughly in the bank. And with 2 of that earmarked towards building. The billing has just been where we see the biggest, obviously Medicare is our biggest, and we don't want to lose that. The Medicaid income has gone up, and I think the reason it's gone up is, I think, because we have Affordable Care Act, so many people have switched to Medicaid. Caravan is holding its own, doing really well. The commercial income has been, that's what's really got me. We've been really getting the commercial insurances billed out. And our billing company, because they will bill within 48 hours of getting the information from us. On the auto insurance, when they have an auto wreck or something, we're getting that money before it goes to medical payments, because that's first come, first served. And so we're getting those before anybody else.
Depending on what happens, Medicaid may
Right.
change
That's it.
drastically.
But we'll be back to
We just
Pick
need
where
to-
we were. I think, yeah, I don't see us getting killed if that happens, because that's what we had before. And so all it does is shift the number from Medicaid to private pay. It still shows as receivable, but when it goes to Medicaid, we write off 90+% of the bill, and it's done on the res. At least on private pay, it can be collected, so we have to be collected. So that's the billing financial report, unless anybody has questions about anything specifically.
Nothing? You wanna comment anything on
I was gonna do that, my director report.
Right, so we need a motion to accept the
So moved.
second. Okay. Roll call.
George Gaskell, George.
Joe Martinez, yes.
George Gaskell, yes.
Eric Neverett, yes.
Nothing else. Yes.
Kathy Bueno, yes. Okay, director's report.
Okay, as Kathy alluded to, we had our audit exit that she and JoJo were here for. It went pretty well. When Kathy says I'm disappointed because they didn't get to yell at you for anything, he drove all the way down to Iowa. Then I feel like, okay, things went well. He noticed, as the reason you have an audit is because he's looking at the processes and are we doing things the right way. One of the things he recommended was having a PO process, just so that, we do a lot of things where and I use as an example, radio batteries. I had people come up and say radios are starting to go dead, which makes sense because all the batteries came in at the same time, and now they're all kind of starting to die at the same time. Well, radios are kind of an important thing, so we go online, find the best price, and order it. And we used a credit card. Well, what he wanted to see was a PO filled out to that. It's like, hey, and getting Barbara, so this is the PO, this is what it's for, and so when she gets the bill for that, she can match it up to that and say, okay, that's...
Just better documentation and...
We've been writing stuff on
and
receipts
stuff, right.
and things, but he kind of likes, for his, the way he does on it, he's pretty easy to stick on it. And so that's the way he wants it done, so that's what we're gonna start doing.
When it just seems like a good practice due to we're doing more and more with grants and things like that, and we need to be able to
Yeah,
track
help separate and
matching
everything
and
else
things
and
like
know what
that,
to
so.
do.
And then it'll make it easier on us when we're looking at those and signing checks and things to know exactly what's going into
Yeah,
all
because
that.
you have to really look through a lot of that
Right.
stuff.
Right. So it'll help clarify
I
that
know I
for
do
us a
too,
little bit.
because I go through all those things before they get the little green pen initials. So it'll get easier on me to look through them.
So that's gonna start here soon, are you creating an invoice type thing or a PO type?
Yeah,
thing?
we actually had PO, but I don't know if it's still back in the,
Then I can do it right on quick.
she can do that.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be a good back.
That
We're gonna
way
do
we've got it-
something-
That way, yeah, and that way we've got it kicking the system.
And he just also recommended that we just check, make sure that the purchases, see what's being purchased in the whole bit. I mean, just to make sure it's all.
The other thing he was talking about is follow-up with, on Bernadette's end, in that she sent us a tax bill, and did the tax bill get paid? Because she just sends it to us, and then there's no, on the back end, looking to see was that paid? I'm looking at the accounts.
From month to
And
month.
did that get taken out? Because we ended up with $4,000 owed to the state in
Turned into
payroll
9,000,
tax.
didn't
What
it?
did he say all the way back to 2014?
Yeah, it started, because I remember back when April was here and Tom, whatever his name is from...
Tom Ortiz.
No, not the financial guy. He's a guy with the state, he's a tax collector guy.
Oh, the other guy.
Came in and
Oh.
dropped his business card off, and when April left that on my desk, I was like, hey, I think we want to mess with this guy. So, I thought we had resolved it then, but apparently, okay, let me pay this, and she pays it, but then they're taking it towards the current one, and so it was just a mess. So they're,
So how much we end up paying?
it was, we had, I think, a total of 9,000 in back taxes that were all caught up with, that were found. And so either they're not making it over here, but it's got to be a two-way system, so that when Bernadette sends us something saying this needs to be paid, that if it doesn't get paid, on the back, she's saying, I have this here, that this was supposed to be paid, and I'm not seeing where it was paid. And then we prevent that. So, that was his recommendation. He said he's gonna have, because Bernadette's part of this too, she does our financials, and that's where they get all that stuff from Century. And so he likes working with them. He says they're good. He understands their process, they understand his process. So he says it shouldn't be a big deal to do that. The only other thing he really, I think, had heartburn with was, if you remember, we were nice people and we gave Dan Bates a kind of a little scholarship, where we paid $15,000 towards his school, his master's degree. And what we forgot was that at a certain point that becomes compensation. And there was we didn't do anything, take any taxes out, but he
I
said.
thought he reimbursed us for
He
that.
did.
He did, well, and that's what he said. He said, luckily, in the same year, he paid all that money back, and so there's no tax liability at all. But it's something that if we're gonna do, especially now, we've got people that are gonna be going to classes, and he says it's $3,500 fine. I think the thing he gave me said $3,500. There's an IRS statute that allows an employer to do so much for
He
an
was gonna
employee.
give you that so that you could refer to it.
But anything over that is an income.
Taxable income, yeah. So now that we're putting people through school and stuff, we have to take a
Just gotta remember
Look
to
at
take
that.
that tax out when it reaches that certain
Yeah.
amount.
So, other than that, he said that he went from 2013 to 16 and said every year things have gone up, the revenue has gone up. The cash flow went up every year except, of course, for last year, and that's because, again, we had the $230,000 ambulance that we paid for out of pocket, and we had that $140,000 check, which, by the way, has been returned, that we redeposited. Other than that, everything's been going. We had a net revenue of $140,000 at the end of the year. And when you're talking about doing 2.4 million, that's what he's talking about. We're pretty non-profit. That's pretty non-profit percent of life.
From the audit and stuff that we've gone through.
He also showed where the first year, it was like my first year here, we had $1,265,000, almost $1,266,000 in taxes, and this year, $900,000. So, I mean, there's your documentation, Gabe, for next year's stuff. Unless you guys have anything to add on
No,
that?
basically he said, us as a board, really gotta watch on what we do, and he told Dan, like the ambulance and stuff like that, we gotta make sure it's like a deposit or something like that.
Oh, that was the other thing, we prepaid
Right.
the ambulance.
Right,
That was
we
his other
prepaid.
thing.
See, that was
And
a
he said-
big issue.
And he said, you gotta, because now you've paid something, but if somebody comes to look at it, where is it?
Right.
So we had it in as an asset when it should have been.
Right.
Right.
And that's it, we just gotta make sure what we classify, what we clarify, different
Right.
things, and make sure we put them in the right
But you
line
can,
item and stuff
you
like
can
that.
set money aside and then pay it when it
But
comes.
it, like
Oh,
he
he didn't have a
said,
problem with us doing it, he was just,
it's,
his problems were, and again, I think mostly these are Bernadette, where she put it.
just where they put it in the line item is where he had the problem.
It should have been shown as a
And like
liability.
Things were accounted for, but they were just not in the place
In
that
the-
he
in the
likes to
proper
see them.
place is
And
what
it
it
made
was.
sense when he explained it.
But
It's just
there
up
was
to us to
no-
make sure it's done right,
Right.
There was he didn't find anything wrong, we were cooperative, it was just, the rest of it was all,
He said
Pretty-
as long as the numbers
pretty good.
balanced out at the end, that was the key thing, so I mean, it was pretty good and pretty interesting, so. We just gotta, like you said, set policy and go from there.
Little housekeeping things.
Yeah, just a little few things.
And now is a good time with the other things that we're doing to expand, and, if we're gonna be doing things with the college and doing things like that, we need to really have our ducks in a row, because if they need something, then we have to be able to produce it.
The
Right.
property,
And show
the whole bit he
those
brought up,
things, so,
everything else, so
yeah.
it's all gonna come into play.
okay, next item I have is, our ambulance grant was approved. So,
Yay!
hopefully we'll be, we did the same thing, George, it was just kind of a sigh of relief. Some of these trucks are getting up there,
Oh, yeah.
and,
Well, they're not getting cheaper.
they're not getting cheaper, but I just like the fact that once we, this will be we've got the second one that's coming up, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, but this will be our third vehicle, and then when we start re-chassising these things, it's not gonna be anywhere near.
Near as expensive.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be simple.
And guess what, the cabinets will be exactly the same.
It's just pop one off, pop the other one on.
Yep, so, that was good news. We should be getting our letter sometime before the end of July, and then we can go ahead and start the process over again. I want to wait till we get a 2018 chassis. We'll wait till that, but you guys will have to approve it. The new ambulance will be, Gabe and I are gonna go on probably the 18th of July to do the pre-delivery inspection. She said it will be ready to deliver at that time, and if we wanted somebody to bring it here, it would cost $2,500.
You're kidding.
No.
After all the money we spent.
So
What's the date?
That's
of
not
that?
them, that's somebody,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah, but what's the date?
July 18th. So what will probably happen is I will take Gabe to the airport, and I will drive an ambulance back to Trinidad. And then we'll have it early next week. Because if we find anything wrong with it, we're gonna go in on a Tuesday, so if we find something that needs to be corrected, if I need to stay a day so that they can fix it, then I can still get it. So, So that was good news. We had the Oklahoma City Police Department guys here last year. We had the city training with us. It was amazing. We got compliments from a member of there was a member of the Camaro School Board that was there, actually filming us, and he was just really impressed. I had no idea what you guys were doing. And then there were a couple of teachers there, and I can't remember who's the guy with the little glasses.
Carol Beta.
Yeah, and he was there. He was really impressed with what was going on. There was no joking around with these guys, and I mean we set up, the scenario was supposed to be, my big thing is not have training scars where everything you do someone gets shot, because sometimes there's no shooting. Well, he had 4 or 5 guys jump out from doorways and out of hallways and run across hallways, and nobody out of all the we had 3 teams of 4, and not a single innocent got shot the whole time, the whole day that we were doing this stuff. So, and it would have been easy to do because they came out yelling at the top of their lungs, and you just...
Pretty unrealistic in life, ain't it? It doesn't happen in life.
Yeah, it does not, yeah, that was, I remember when I had anatomy and physiology and we had to do dissection, and I was like, these muscles aren't color-coded. They are in the book. But it was, they were very complimentary. The guys did a great class. The city guys were really impressed, and they were like, my God, they were upset that they've missed, this is the 3rd year we've done it, and they missed out. Because it was good. And then night before last, we ended up with a call suspect. So it worked out. So good to have training, and then you do
Get to apply it, yeah.
You train and you hope it never has to happen. But
and everything came off without a hitch, because they think he's a great hostage negotiator. The board just should know that July, we kind of held back on our EMS week stuff because we wanted to focus. We were doing that every year, and I was going in a dunk tank, and it was 50 degrees with 40-mile-an-hour winds.
You're still
That's
alive.
not a good excuse.
It was just...
He's still alive.
Yeah. And it was just, and I still get mad at JoJo for not telling me that Casillas could friggin' throw. And 4 out of 5 times he put me in. And we just decided that rather than do that we'll combine it with the touch-a-truck, which is a big draw that they have. So they bring in trucks. There'll be tow trucks and semis and fire trucks, and we'll have our vehicles there, and sheriff vehicles and PD vehicles, and we contacted Pinyon Canyon, and they've got a huge Titan crash fire rescue truck that they're going to drive in for that. So it should be, and Fight for Life is going to land. If they're not,
When is this?
July 8th.
July 8th? Why don't you get a hold of Phil Dorcat and see if he can bring you a couple of graders or even a loader and stuff? I mean, as far as kids get a big kick out of big toys.
I told him a dozer, so.
Yeah.
Those are, you know, I mean,
I think that's a great idea.
yeah, I mean.
So we've been on the phone, and I don't know who Julie already contacted, so, but it should be a good thing out there. It should be fun. Also, we get another, you know, we keep.
Are you doing it at the fairgrounds or where are you?
If that's fairgrounds.
The fairgrounds?
Yeah, it'd be 11 to 2.
There it is, see? That'd be cool.
11 to 2. We've gotten a couple more compliments just out of the blue, where people call up, "You in my office?" And the first thing you hear on the message is, "I just want to thank you guys for providing the service you provide." And I mean, it's wonderful to hear. But Pam stopped in today, and she's been transporting a radiation patient for 9 weeks, and this patient made a card for her.
Yeah.
And I mean, put names on it, and just the stuff she wrote was just so.
There's some
so
people that'll go beyond
complimentary.
because
That's
And
pretty
and for
awesome.
her to say, you know, I feel like I've made a new friend. It was just,
I hear a lot out
So
there,
it's
Dad.
more
It's
than-
amazing what you hear.
it's more than just, you know, you didn't kill me while you were driving. I expect that.
And I hear a
But-
lot about Junie, I hear a lot about all you people. I mean, the service that they give and provide. It's
They're,
outstanding.
they're out there doing, and I mean, normally when that phone rings and somebody wants me to call them back, I usually. But it's been, it's been really a good thing to hear the compliments and passing those along to people, so. That's all I got.
Okay. We need to accept the operations, director's report?
No, it's
Just good?
Yeah, just information.
Operations?
So, I'm gonna start out with 2016. Came across something on one of the EMS websites. Los Angeles County had the highest overdose mortality in 2016. And we were the 6th highest in the United States last year. So that's
Scary,
I pulled some numbers. Mount Carmel was trying to get a grant for some Narcan and stuff. And as of June 6th, the last 3.5 years, we gave out 147 doses of Narcan. Came out to just under $5,500 worth of Narcan. So I thought those were some kind of scary numbers.
Yeah, it is. I hear it on the news all the time.
And it's getting so expensive that they're starting, some agencies are starting at 3 strikes and you're out. If they see the same person on for the 4th time,
That's it. Yeah, no.
they're withholding.
Well, it's definitely a problem.
Yeah.
Well, then more and more of those stronger drugs and things that they're coming up with is taking more to revive them too, so it's
Ridiculous. Yeah.
just
Well, you never used to give a multiple dose. You'd be halfway through giving the first dose, and they'd be fighting, and now you're doing 2 and 3.
Yeah, one of our crews last week or 2 weeks ago had to give multiple doses to one. And we met with the U.S. Attorney a couple days ago, and they said that it just hit Springs. So it's just a matter of time before it hits us.
Oh, it'll be here.
Yeah.
It's probably already here.
So they're recommending no latex gloves because you absorb it through latex gloves, and it's easily absorbed and inhaled, so kind of scary. On that note, for May, our call volume was down from the previous month. Our transports were down, which isn't a bad thing. Give our crews a break because we started out really, really busy, and we're going into our busy part of the year. Last year at this time, we started seeing numbers like we did in January through April, so we're just going to get busy again. So we're on track to do probably 2,500 calls or so, just as we did last year. Shift call volume staying pretty even. The east side last month did about 14 more calls or so. So everything's staying pretty even. Again, most of the calls are in the city. Fisher Peaks stayed busy last month. Our winning doctor for the month is Dr. Case.
Let's see, this
He had 18% of the transfers.
So we come up with a
Doctor of choice.
some sort of an award, a certificate.
We don't want to do that.
This month is who?
We'll leave that as a personal joke.
Yeah.
I'm not no more.
It was.
No more.
Yeah, and we still did 35, still more than one a day,
Yeah.
in a facility.
What are you gonna do?
Other than that, there's not much more to add. We're up to, as of May 31st, we're up to 1,020 calls for the year, so
How many?
1,020.
Wow.
So,
What calls?
but yeah, we're on track to stay pretty busy and get well over 2,000. So.
Yeah, and August ain't even here yet, the hottest part of the year.
As long as we
So I said, I
provide
looked at the numbers,
a
and from
good
July
service.
to
All
November,
right.
we were 180 to 200 calls a month for those months, so I anticipate us staying pretty busy. So that's all I have.
Alright. Number 11, employee dress uniforms and ballistic vest purchase.
You asked to have it on the.
Yeah, but we talked about it, and did you get the quotes again?
I got,
I mean,
Yeah, it was in the minutes from that, we already approved them. So what I'm saying is what's the problem with getting them the uniforms? Because the quotes were just as close to mine as any.
$10,000, so, and it's
No,
above my
it's not
spending limit,
10,000.
so if it, I can't buy them. So, if you wanna do that, it's gotta be done as a board action.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but do we want to do the uniforms and the vest? Because the vest we have to, what about the vest? Did you look
Vest
into
we
that?
budgeted for, and we actually,
I thought we had talked about that.
That's it.
right, and we budgeted that in the 2017 budget, that's what we put the retech money towards. And we have, the two best quotes we have, ones that aren't ridiculous, one is from Blue Star Police Supply up in Denver, and they've got two different models they can do. One at $900 a piece is one with the pockets that are permanently sewn, they can't be moved. And the other one, it's $50 more, is a zip-up vest like you see most of the deputies wearing.
And that's the most functional?
That's a more functional because you can actually, it comes with, you can add pockets to it, because these are gonna belong to
Velcro or what
those people.
about-
That's Molly, the Molly gear where they,
What do you normally wear? Something similar to that?
Something
similar to that.
and it's, that's with the Razor, level 2, plus they're gonna do the, plus all the pouches. And the front and back medic, they're gonna do the name tags is $950, and that's the, and you can see that the armor, just for the armor itself, from Warrior Kit was $700 a piece, and then it was $280 for the carrier.
So
So
how
it's
many are you looking at?
25,
25 at 9 or 950? 950
probably
is that-
950, yeah, because that's the most functional.
That's the
that-
most functional?
And if I could get that, these guys are up in Denver, if I can get the people at Warrior Kit, who are closer to us in Pueblo, to do it, then I would rather go, because that's where we.
But is there any discount to buying at 25? You know,
That's-
normally if you buy by bulk like that, they'll give you even a better discount.
That's a discount.
That's
because
the
those-
discount?
Right.
Let me see.
So that came through the actual guy with Armor Express. They don't sell directly, they sell through distributors, but I went through the guy that makes them to get the quote from the distributor.
And that's within the budget,
That we
It's a
said.
little,
it's a little over the amount
it's
that we
over, because
budgeted.
we get 15,000 a year from,
15, so we gotta put in 8.
so 10, you know.
About 8 or 9 more, so.
It's almost, yeah. So, but
So
that's,
that takes care of the vest.
And then just with the functionality of the vest, it's the Molly, everybody's different, they can set their vest up the way that they want to set it
right-handed,
up.
left-handed, all, yeah.
So with the other one, if you get the one with the pouches on it, you're stuck with what you have. with-
Right,
I
right.
think we
I
want to be
think the other one
functional.
is more versatile and stuff, and I agree with that. There's no problem there. Okay. I agree with that.
I think the most important thing is
And
the vest.
the
Absolutely.
25 minutes, they're going for our personnel.
Right, they're going, it's.
And what are you gonna do,
and
you
they're gonna
said
come-
the other ones?
They would come and fit everybody, so
Fit
they're
everybody.
actually custom.
Okay.
Same thing they do when PD or SO, so they'll come down, they'll measure everybody, and when the vest comes, they'll come with their name on it.
And the uniforms. Let's go on to that, this one we go and vote, I would say vote together. If we're gonna vote, we'll go like that.
But I'm just trying to remember though, on the uniforms, they didn't want them. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had put that out,
There
and
was
they
only-
were more of vest.
Well, I think
is the money they
I
wanted to
think
use
they
it
had,
for.
they had to make a choice, they said they wanted the vest.
And the vests are budgeted for, but, and
Yeah.
the uniform would be a budget amendment.
And what did they choose to be for their dress? Was it a shirt rather than the full gear? I don't remember. We
Yeah,
put that out
the
to you to
white-
give to them.
The white long sleeve shirt with collar brass, tie, the
Shoes,
uniform slacks. Well, you
shoes,
priced it.
shoes, ties, belts, white shirts, name tags.
There was everything that was pretty much to what close to what I gave you. I mean, it's pretty close to it.
It didn't include, they didn't want.
The only thing that wasn't there was the jacket.
And that's something that's affordable within what we have.
Yeah, I mean, both of them were within
So if that's
reason.
what they want, you know, I. the
And what was that,
majority-
what was that quote? What was that price?
One was 4 something, the other
It was
one was
like
5
two-
It's in,
something.
it's in the minutes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I read it, I didn't see that. I thought that was what we had talked about.
You could start, it depends, if you shop it out, instead of getting it all.
It's on page 4 or 6.
Those are all things that are available at different places. Unlike if you buy a jacket and pants, you gotta get them from, it's like buying a suit jacket and suit pants in 2 different places. They don't match. With these, we could go to Gall's and get the shirts for like 20-something bucks a piece, those Albeco zip-up dress shirts. I think they're 20-something, 28 bucks maybe. And then the slacks are not, maybe 35. The ties, I think, are 4 bucks. You find them on sale. They're things that you can, it's not one thing, so you can kind of shop around and get the best price on that.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think that the information was an estimate that I had received from Lighthouse Uniforms, so that the pants and the shirts, everything would be the same as what the administrative have for their Class A's. So the pants would all match, and everything would be the same. So I do have quotes from both.
Well, I still say, you know, that I think it's a reward to the people that they get one. I think they deserve to look nice if they go and represent somebody. Not just administration, but as a person themselves, and they're proud to wear this uniform. And I said, I'm gonna make the motion that we go ahead and buy a Class A uniform with the quotes that were given, and we go ahead and spend the money for the vest also.
Well, I think for sure we gotta buy the vest.
The vest, yeah.
The best have been approved.
And we
had
approved
budgeted
it,
for
and yeah, now we're about $8,000
Well,
short.
you gotta come up
Which
with
is
a
why I
motion to
thought
cover
if
the
you're
vest.
willing
But we do have money to purchase those, and
Which
that's
is-
a safety thing.
Which is
and
why I
think we
thought
need to
if
purchase
you're gonna
those.
go uniforms, then instead of having both, I can take some of that money and it would go to vest, and it would come out to what one would be. So I was kind of taking the money from one to complete the purchase of the vest, since we only got the 15,000 from RETAC.
But it's still gonna cover
And it's
it.
gonna be 23,000.
But it's still cover
I
it.
think we just go with what the majority would like in their dress uniform, plus they did say that they would like the best, so
Yeah,
the better use of the money of the taxpayer is to go with what's the most safe, or whatever you think, and I think that's the way we go.
Why can't we buy the vest, pay the vest, and put the money for the full uniforms in next year's budget and buy it at that time? If it creates a problem within the budget, and I'm not that close to the budget right now.
Yeah, no, we can't use
Or-
the RETAC funds for that, so we just have to do.
Yeah, we'll have to
something.
right,
budget
we
that.
have to budget it as a board.
Yeah.
And I
Discussion?
think eventually, if you know,
And once again, maybe take it to everybody and see if they want Class A's or if they're just, maybe give them an option of.
Well, give them the option, they're gonna get the vest.
the vests are, the
No,
vests
the
are
vests are
already
the vests are
in.
done.
I mean,
Just
that's
for the uniform.
for the uniform, yeah. But I still
But the-
say the
so-
jacket makes the uniform. The jacket does make.
Now,
the uniform.
when do they wear the uniform? They don't wear, they only wear the uniform
Well, on special occasions.
on special
Yeah,
occasions,
right.
right?
That's the only time they're gonna do it. Or if they feel like that you're having something here and they feel like they gotta dress for it, why not let them dress for it? You wore yours. I've seen you when you went to the city hall. And you wore it, and you look very nice.
We
You were
received that
proud. That's right, but you were proud to do it.
Proclamation. Right.
Look how nice Junie would have looked if he'd have went to DC in an outfit. When he received that
She
commendation.
did have an outfit.
No, but what I'm saying is address that uniform.
I think that's a good idea, but at this moment, I think we should get what we need. with the
Yeah, I
vest,
understand
And
it.
then we can move forward next year
I think
and,
that's a good point.
and bring that up, because it does look nice.
But let's
I
don't
agree,
throw
but
that in the trash.
No.
Yeah.
Let's,
It'll get thrown,
I think the fund should be
because he's
set
already
towards
set on it,
safety.
and I already know.
Well, as a
I
board,
got a
we
motion
keep
on
it.
it, I got a motion on the floor, so If there's a
And
second, fine.
what
If
is your
there's not,
motion?
motion to go with the Class A uniform.
The vests are a done thing.
Vests are because of that.
I'm gonna say if we have the money, let's buy the uniform.
So
Let's end this thing.
Is that a second to
Yeah,
his motion?
Yeah, let's end this thing and get moving forward.
And which, I think we need to clarify, because there's discussion about, are we buying what they want, or are we buying
Well,
what
I
we
think-
want to
The
I
spend?
think-
motion was-
I think
the
we need to
motion was
buy-
for
I think
Class A.
Class
Oh.
A.
I think we need to buy what our personnel want.
Well, the motion was for a Class A uniform, which includes the cover, the
Alright,
jacket, the
I'm gonna take back
gloves.
my motion and I'm gonna make it.
That's what I want to clarify.
Yeah. Okay?
So is there a
Just-
second on the floor for
Before we
JoJo's
get too far,
motion?
that's what my thing was, not about the vest, but if the employees want the Class A or like a Class B without the cover and without the jacket, I think it should be up to them as a whole to.
Right. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
nobody,
so if
nobody
So are
else.
you changing your motion?
No, I'm not changing my motion. I still say the jacket makes the outfit. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but it should be up to.
Well, if
They
the
have to
individual
wear-
don't want a jacket, that's fine. But there's some that are gonna want a jacket. Did you want a jacket? Because you got a jacket.
I like the jacket, but it was really hot in DC.
Well, yeah,
And I would have worn it if I didn't have to.
yeah. But you look good. That's what I'm saying. And we're probably proud when we see the picture. We're gonna be proud of you because you wore it.
I think 80% of the people there didn't have.
Yeah, there was quite a bit that didn't have.
Well, like I said,
They look
if
kind of like
it's their
Judy looked in that
preference,
picture.
if it's their
We looked
preference,
at-
go that way. You know, that's what
Which
the
I
deal
think
is.
Gina looks
If they
very
want
nice.
it, that's the motion. If they don't want it, they don't have to get it.
That's the motion you made now? You
Okay.
changed your
You
motion.
changed it. So now, okay.
Yeah.
A
So-
motion
okay.
for a Class A uniform for all employees if they want it.
Right.
And
Jacket or no
did you,
jacket.
was there a second?
Well, I'll second that,
Okay, okay, all right, all right.
okay? And now we'll vote.
Now we can vote.
Joe Martinez, yes.
George Dasco, yes. Almost after.
Eric Clever, yes.
That's where I guess.
Kathy Bueno, yes. Okay. So,
That's done, it's
That's
over.
done,
Let's
yes.
get it out of there.
so if we can get for the, within the next meeting or two, no longer than that, their decision on which one they want.
The vests
The
are
vests
done.
are
Vests are
not-
done.
Vests are
But
done,
we're
I mean,
doing
that's
Class A
forward,
already.
like you said.
We're going,
The only thing,
if you guys are okay with going over, I showed you the quote.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
what I
already
said.
said
Well,
that.
why do you think I
Done.
made that
Okay.
motion
Done.
to include the extra amount of the vest? That's what the original motion was.
Okay, so yeah, that's a done,
Done.
Yeah, that's a safety thing.
yeah.
We agree
Because
with
that's
that.
an
agree.
expenditure of over 10 grand,
Yeah.
about 10 grand. That's why I made the motion the way I did, but that's all right.
Prater Range Management,
For those of you who didn't know, Prater Range is closed.
Oh, yeah.
The college has decided to back out of management of Prater Range. I've talked to Tony
DeAngelis.
and mentioned that it might be something we'd be interested in because then we would have to build an indoor range at the new building, which would save us. We would put money into that range.
I
But
got
it would
people
be-
that's gonna invest into that range.
Well, until I see the money, I can't
Well,
start
no, but we
construction.
ain't even broke ground yet. Once we break ground, then don't worry about that. These people will invest.
I gotta worry about it because I can get,
Well,
I can't start construction.
What is your suggestion?
Well, I think we can, in order to lease that range, it would cost us a whopping $3,600 a year.
$3,600 a year?
A year?
To lease it?
Yes.
just a lease.
Well, that's not a bad deal.
Actually, that's not a bad
And I
deal.
think we could put, I've seen some nice outdoor ranges that are year-round where there is our range design, NRA will actually come and design your range, and they'll only charge you.
Now you're moving in a different
See,
direction. Now, how much money will that cost?
Well, I'm saying, we had budgeted to build a building that had an indoor range, which was gonna be about $500,000. So I'm thinking if we build a building without a range, we can take probably 150,000 and build an outdoor range that would be used, that could be used year-round, because they make kind of hard to describe, but they kind of angle, it's something so that if a shot is misplaced, it goes,
Well,
it
it
gets
goes into
trapped.
the bank.
It get, not in the side, going up.
Yeah, I know. It goes
And
into
so
the bank,
what
right?
they, okay, and so it kind of comes at an angle, and then at the bottom of that, there's a gutter. And then there's another one that kind of overlaps it, so that if stuff comes down, it goes into the gutter and it drains off the range. But it also prevents rounds from going out, which is what they were trying to do with those barricades that they have up there. And so we can, I think if you wanted to go that way, we could still serve the community by providing the range and a place for law enforcement, rescue task force to train, and give the college a place for the gunsmiths to shoot.
Gunsmith,
and
I
then
thought
not-
they closed that.
What-
I think we're gonna have that this year.
No, they've got it,
They
and that's part
decided
of,
to
part of
open it
the,
again?
part of the
Wow.
thing Tony wanted to make sure with me is that we would still allow the gunsmithing students to use the range, and I said, I don't think that would be an issue. But I think $3,600 a year and putting some money into that thing for improvements would be.
Does that include the
much-
house?
Includes the lease includes everything that's there, that whole thing.
Well, the house was there for protection reasons, but what are we gonna do there then?
Well,
Because
the-
that place has a tendency of getting vandalized.
And they're putting up, they already got a grant from Department of Natural Resources to put up security cameras all over, so if there's anything out there, it'll get picked up. And then the sheriff's office will,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know it's been vandalized quite often.
and that's part of the improvements I'm talking about, is making it more difficult for people to get into it. And I think, one of the things that we can do, and I think one of the reasons that these things that it got vandalized, and one of the reasons why a college can't afford to keep it open, is anytime somebody went out there, the guy would say, sign the book, and that was it. They didn't check to make sure they had paid their membership or anything. So if we can, if that's something you want to do, it's something that where the first of every month, we can change the code, and it only gets emailed to people who have to, have a gate code, and that code gets changed. So it may actually end up making money for us. We may be able to, it'll probably take several years to recoup the cost, and I don't know
That's
how
what I was
many
gonna
members they
say.
have.
What would you charge as a fee?
I think if you
You'd
charge
have to sit
$50 a year, I don't think that's unreasonable to be able to, you don't have to drive all the way over to Whittington to shoot, and it's a safe place. And apparently the Trinidad State Junior College Education, whatever that board is. Education Foundation, they actually have, we're part of that, what we're paying for is the liability insurance on that. And I asked them, I said, liability just on the property, or liability is in, they know it's a range and they'll cover it if somebody, she said, no, it's range, it's for the range, full insurance. So, I think that, it might, number one, it makes me less nervous about starting on that new building, because that's $500,000 that we don't have to spend. And, the way we could design that outdoor range could be pretty much a year-round use range. It's still gonna be cold, but we don't have to ventilate it, and the ventilation was gonna cost us as much as the range itself. So, and not only that, we could move those barricades. If we build that, we can move those barricades, and as far as Rescue Task Force, PD, SO, that can be a tactical range because it's open, and you'll have 270 degrees of being able to shoot rather than worried about having to keep it like it is now. They've got, I don't know if you guys have been out there since they put up this stuff, but it's bizarre. And that we lost two lanes. There's basically 3 rifle lanes that go 100 yards. Then 2 of the lanes have been blocked, 2 or 3 with those barricades. Then they made an L with the barricades so that the majority of the range is a 25-yard range there. Doesn't go any further than that. And so you've got all that space behind those barricades that's open, that is just unused space, can't be used. And then you've got like an 80-yard rifle range on 1 or 2 lanes on the left. And so it just, I think it took away a lot of the functionality of the range. But I see where they were going, and that they didn't want to have they put that there because if you're shooting at 25 yards and you've got something that high, your chances of hitting something else. So I get where they were going. And they raised the rifle ones too, so that they can actually, the trap shooting was a pretty popular thing out there. If you went out there on a Saturday, there were people out there every Saturday, and they were paying to shoot trap out there. So I think you could make some money at it. Well, I think we could recoup the cost that we put into it over
Over a period of time.
this period of time.
I'm gonna suggest then that you go and put a package first for
Yeah,
next meeting.
that's what I'm-
Well, yeah,
Put everything together, in writing, and the whole bit, and then we'll look at it next meeting, and then we'll go for, and which includes talks with TSJC, how much property they own and the whole bit, and give us an idea.
It's this
how much
foundation that owns it. They're a 501c3.
Yeah, but even still, if it's a foundation or who, this way, and make sure that we're gonna, if we decide to expand, we have the permission to expand and stuff like that, and we don't have no, you know what I'm saying, nothing to fall back on, or gotta wait a while because somebody else, while you're infringing on my right of way, or whatever it is.
Why, and I don't want to put a lot of money into something we're leasing and then.
I
Just-
feel the same way, and I told her, I
Just
said, look,
put-
if you're gonna do this, we're gonna put money into it, it's gotta be a long term.
Well, that's
Right.
gotta be
Well,
a
that's
lifetime
fine.
so we
lease.
need stuff in writing that's gonna,
Pretty
Yeah,
much,
that's
like
my
a 99
suggestion.
years.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
90, like before.
And we can look
That
at
way
it
I'm
next-
dead and they own it.
Me too, so
You know, I'd rather
we'll be
have
good
it-
to go.
Yeah, just put a big package deal together.
I
and
will-
go
Well,
from
and it's
there.
gonna be, and I'll try and get it together, but their board had just had a meeting, so
Well, that's
I've
fine.
gotta, it's gonna be board to board stuff,
Yeah.
but I think they wanna get this done pretty quickly. I told her I'd let her know tomorrow what the board
We want
decided
to know the
today, so.
details before.
Yeah.
So I think in theory, you're okay with it, but we need to have details.
I'd like
before
to
we
see
go.
something, you know, what.
Okay.
get
yeah, we
into
can't
it.
make a decision without more
Did they
details.
say what they were doing with that house, or is that foundation gonna put somebody there, or is it gonna be empty?
It would be up to us if we wanted to put
Well, that's
somebody.
what-
If we
what I
lease
said,
somebody,
because-
we'd have to, if we leased it, we'd have to put somebody.
Because the college had somebody living there.
There all the time, and then.
Well,
whenever
you
they
almost
go
have to
there-
have somebody there.
I didn't know if that was part of their plan, is just have somebody.
It definitely can be, but that whoever they had there never got paid. That was always
That
an
was
agreement
part
that
of
was
it.
Well,
written
see,
free to.
And if that house is included, we'd have to put somebody, because we wouldn't want anybody coming in and tearing up stuff that we're investing in and stuff, so I mean, you're looking at another salary or whatever we're gonna have to do.
I don't think it's a salary, because they've had somebody out there all this time, and
The
it's
board
always
is what they
been,
get for doing it.
it's always been an in-kind. They're giving them free, they don't charge them
Free
to live in
shooting?
that house.
Well,
That would probably be up to us.
yeah,
Right.
but then, you know, if it's up to us, then we're paying utilities and gas and everything else, you know,
Well, we just need a package so we
Yeah,
can
I'd
figure
rather
out
see it.
the
And so
plan.
we can go from
Yeah,
there.
'cause
Okay.
we can keep going, so.
We could do that.
Yep.
All right, anything under miscellaneous? Okay. Executive session? Anything
Yeah.
for executive session? Yes?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we need to,
What are we going into executive session?
Complaint.
Okay.
So
we need to
have a
motion.
motion. Need to have a motion.
Okay, you get it. Yeah.
I need motion.
Make a motion to go into executive session. On a complaint, to discuss.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right, so we need to vote.
No, Martinez, yes.
George Dasco, yes.
Everett, yes.
Betsy Brown, yes.
Kathy Bonner, yes. Okay, so that will put us in executive session
And then cite,
and 546.
you want to cite that statute.
As CRS 24-6-402 subsection 4B and D.